Crosby, Gensel on the right. He scores! Jake Gensel!
Hundley holds, steps up. Hundley sacks T.J. Watt. NFL history. Watt has tied Michael Strahan's single-season record. Oh, no.
In the air to right. This is deep. And he did it again. Jack Sawinski wins it for the Pirates. 3 home runs in a game.
Hello. Thanks for watching another Pittsburgh Sportsline live in the BP TV studio in the Municipal Building. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you on this nice spring 74-degree day. Can't beat it. We got lots of great sports to talk about with you. Thank you for watching us on Comcast 21. Ooh. Nick, I want to say 20. I don't want to say 21. I want to say 7. You know?
I hear you.
Comcast 21, if you're watching on there, we appreciate, we salute you. And Verizon 32, yes, still Verizon 32. We're live streaming to Pittsburgh Sportsline channel. If you're watching us anywhere, go to YouTube, type in Pittsburgh Sportsline like it sounds, and then channel. You can spell it. I don't have to. Go there. We're live streaming. We got our 13-year-old Rowan in the control room running everything. We're Facebook Live, so Nick hooked me up on Facebook Live, so we got that going on. And we're ready to roll with this show. And thank you for all the likes on Facebook and all the following. We appreciate that. We won't talk about the numbers since they're speculative.
What is going on over there?
And we got one of our fill-in.
Thank you. I guess it was because of Al.
Hey, Paul Haley's watching us. Thanks, Paul, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll try to get down the little stuff here. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Smoking Jim Frazier came in a little bit late, but he's on something he calls CP time. He can explain that on air, and it won't be racist. I can't promise it, though. And Chip Hayner, I have not heard anything about him, so Amy, if you ask, I don't know any more about him. That he has antibiotic drips 3 times a day, every 8 hours for 40 days. So he's probably about 30-some days into it. Smoking Jim's trying to do gateway math, doesn't have a clue.
Oh.
And we have the substitute for Chip Hayner, Jim Ellenbogen, known as Guns affectionately here by his past and his future here on Pittsburgh Sportsline. We got Nick VIP Callis, Harry Callis on 93.7 The Fan. Since we have no competition, we don't mind what media you work in or believe or watch or listen to.
Well, I sure do appreciate that.
Oh, you're very welcome. And we got some sports promos to do right now. So we're going to signal. Oh, wait, we got a few people. Ralph is watching. Hello, guys.
That's
Amy's watching. Amy's saying, I'm not feeling well. I have a sore throat. My allergies are really bad, and I've been coughing. I took some medicine. Amy, so am I. I got sick last week after the show for a few days. The allergies are bothering me, but I got some good medicine. I don't have it on me, but it's a real good medicine. 15 minutes later, it clears my sinuses and throat. So I'm starting to get a little weak now.
Tell me you were sick.
Margaret Rohde, she's watching us from Rochester, New York. You want to say anything, Marco, to her?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Marco said thanks for watching. Chief Chuck McElroy's watching. So let's go to Smoking Jim
I
Frazier.
thought we was doing promo.
Oh, yeah, we got to do the promos.
Jeez, wow.
I was looking at guns. I thought he was counting me down. Rowan, we're going to promos right now. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Strikers. I worked there for 36 years. My former union, CWA PPMWS 14842, Pittsburgh Local Mailers Union number 22, is on strike. Even though health care benefits were secured for workers by the union, Post-Gazette management cut them out without the union's approval and still expected workers to show up without any coverage. Please cancel your Post-Gazette subscriptions online or in print. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Union Strikers. Frank Fanera,
owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria and the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. Go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front. Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com.
And now this message from BPTV.
Alas, poor talking machine. I knew him well. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy?
Dave, I'm not dead. I'm still doing Pittsburgh Sportsline every Tuesday night and many other weekly shows on BPTV.
That's great, Al, but then who's this?
I don't know, but we must leave right now. Let's go.
South Park Theater is hosting its Party in the Park fundraiser on Saturday, April 29th from 4 o'clock until 7. There will be live music, beer, wine, hors d'oeuvres, and a slate of events scheduled for the kids. General admission is $40, 4 to 12-year-olds get in for $5, and children under 3 are free. Tickets are available at EV True Value Hardware, the Bethel Park Library, South Park Theater, or you can go online to bpcf.org. If you want more information, go online or call 412-760-9614.
Help save Pittsburgh police officer Jeffrey Crawford. Jeffrey is in need of a kidney donation. He's in stage 5 renal failure and he's on dialysis 3 times a week. He needs this kidney ASAP. To contact the UPMC donor registry, call 412-647-4438 or go to livingdonorreg.upmc.com. And to help spread awareness, use the hashtag #BlessJeff on socials. Let's come together to support Pittsburgh policeman Jeffrey Crawford in his time of need. Alex Reed is in need of a kidney. 2 weeks after college graduation, Alex's kidneys failed. A gracious donor gave Alex 7 years of life, but now he needs another kidney. To learn more about becoming a donor for Alex, call 830-285-2140 or go to kidneysolutions.org.
All right. Now substituting for the talking machine, Nick VIP Callis.
What's going on? I just want to let you know I went to Zhang Taekwondo. I can't tell you exactly when because they're trying to get people in. But if you go, you might see me there. It's fun. I can see why Team Storm at Providence Charter School is staying focused and stuff because they teach you how to move your entire body strategically, to make punches, to make kicks. You learn respect. And right now this flyer says, and Al's been saying, in Zhang Taekwondo, you get 4 weeks plus a uniform for $30. That's the beginner's special. So
See if you can
in
show Mark out.
In Wexford, it's 155 Lake Drive, Suite 205.
There we go.
Our South Hills location is 1025 Washington Pike, or not our location, their location. You can also go to zangtkd.com and do Taekwondo. I endorse it. It's fun. There we go.
Thank you, Nick. All right, we got Paul Haley's watching us on Facebook Live from North Myrtle Beach. Dr. John Donatelli, hi guys from west of the mighty Mississippi. Have a great show. John, we're going to have to explain the Smokin' Jimmy's challenge on geography, where you even are. So, but we're going to go to what's on your mind, Smokin' Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
There it is.
You got to see Levine. Give it to my white cornerback. Hey, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Yes.
I tell you what, I got my two favorite people in today, Diane and Marco. Big hand for them too, man.
Hold it. I got a disclaimer. He always tells me and Guns and Nick we're his favorite people.
Only when Diane's not around.
Okay. I take the disclaimer back. We're second rate.
What are we doing here?
But I'm going to be real quick, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Okay,
and Nick
good.
and Guns. Listen, my two favorite players in baseball one is Aaron Judge, and number two
Why'd
is,
you point to the Sox hat?
Oh, it's not the Yankees today. Okay. And,
Hold it. I have a question before you go
Yeah.
on.
Oh, my goodness.
Did you dress yourself?
Yeah, I think so.
You just think so, huh?
We got no answers, folks. Carry on.
That's right. I'm learning from Marco. You know, the socks, black and white goes with my swag.
He's not wearing
you know?
socks.
Well, he's always
So
swagged
far, you're
out.
striking out on everything. What's your point of this?
You're a white guy. You don't know nothing about swag. Marco knows swag, brother. But my favorite player in baseball was Cruz, and it looks like he's out for the year, man. That broke my heart.
Who's Cruz?
For the Pittsburgh Pirates.
What position he
4
play?
months, maybe.
Shortstop, second base, one of them. Shortstop, yeah.
Glad you got your assistant there.
Yeah, one of my favorites. And lastly, I'm
white
not
corner.
giving up, Guns. I'm not giving up. Everybody knows I'm a Penguins fan. Go Penguins. They're playing tonight. They control their own destiny. Let's make the playoffs.
Why are you even rooting for him?
Well, I like to see them go 1 and out. 1 and done.
It's good for the bars.
Yeah, it makes money for the city. Yeah, it makes money for the city when they make the playoffs. And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim.
The extent you know about hockey is the Penguins.
We appreciate that
I
knowledge.
knew the curse was on when they got rid of Marc-Andre Fleury, and I've been right about that. I've been right about my curses.
Well, since Tony from Chick-fil-A just checked in, beautiful day in Pittsburgh. Yes, it was. Smokin' Jim, your favorite boxing movie. Try to keep it to one, okay, Tony from Chick-fil-A?
The original greatest when Cassius Clay Muhammad Ali played himself, not the Will Smith one, but the original Greatest.
There you have it, Tony from Chick-fil-A, the original Cassius Clay. All right, we can move on. Jim Ellenbogen, Guns, what's on your mind?
Football draft, NFL.
Yes, sir.
Whoa.
You know, Tomlin always does it to me, right?
Yeah, what'd he do today?
Well, he refuses to acknowledge that the defensive line is weak. You know, all he cares about is corners and outside linebackers.
Right.
But if he had some Russian linemen, you know, so he pulled a great move. I saw in the paper, I said he signed a Watts. And I'm like, could it be? No, it wasn't a Watt. It was a Watts.
No, with an S.
Yeah, a poor man's defensive lineman. You know?
Very poor.
These guys, he keeps filling in and buying these cheaper, I call them poor men defensive linemen because they're good with the rush. They're good with staying home, but they can't rush.
He's going to have to clean
but
the
here's
floor.
the
He's
here's the
dropping stuff
thing.
like crazy.
And I know what he's doing. He's doing that so that when they get to the draft, he said, no, I signed these defensive linemen so that he can draft outside linebackers and corners. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get the same rush that you had last year. Hayward is going to be 34, maybe going on 35.
Yeah.
You know, he don't have the rush ability like he
Well,
did.
two guys on him every game.
Those other guys, they should be on a milk carton. They don't rush the quarterback. And if they run Watt outside, there's nothing there. So you heard it here first. There'll be, once again, no defensive rush. And that's what's on my mind.
Wow. Just my observation since Gunn's been on the show, some of Smoking Jim's rubbing off. He's best friends with Tomlin, but Tomlin doesn't like him because he turned on him one time. So now we got the negative table of Tomlin.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, guys. Nick,
I don't say nothing bad about Hayward, but
we'll here, as our football coaches would say, check the film on Smoking Jim when he was talking about Tomlin and drafting and everything else, and we'll just cover that. He even said with Hayward, they shouldn't sign him. And he's one of the few guys that was signed and did better the next year, just to prove Smoking Jim wrong, because he's right 99.7%.
97% of the time.
97. Okay. I was going to give you a benefit of the doubt.
No, document.
Stats from the almanac.
you know what? And he won't fill that left tackle, offensive tackle position either. There's a gate there. Oh, you can hear it creak when they
It's
go.
rusty. It's rusty.
Right.
I understand that.
You know, he needs to go too.
Well, we'll discuss that later, I'm sure. We'll cover that. Well, thank you, Guns. Appreciate your insights. And to all your fans out, keep watching for more Guns. He's on at least another month and a half. So
You said
here
that
we
in
go.
November. I'm still here.
Well, I don't mind repeating myself and having fun on Pittsburgh Sports Line.
He said to me, do me a favor, and but now I'm doing life.
Well, you didn't hear the end of it. I said, can you do me a favor for life?
Yeah, that's what it was.
I remember it clearly. I said it twice. All right, VIP, Nick Callis, Harry Callis. Which one of you is on your mind here?
VIP.
Okay, VIP.
You
Just
know-
checking. You got multi-personalities like my best friend Smoking.
I'll be honest with you. Pony at the Fan said to me one time, he was like, why don't they call you Harry at BPTV? And I said, well, my nickname on the Sportsline show is VIP. And he said, why do they call you that?
Because of
you know,
Smoking.
We could call you Harry if you want.
I like the different. I like
When
the
I hear you on the
differential.
radio, you're always Harry. If it ever slips, I'm just used to it.
Yeah, I'm honored that Smokin was able to, with his nonsense and ignorance, provide what turned out to be a great persona when I sit in this chair.
I'm a
So
rapper.
Don't get him
I
warmed
put
up.
the rhyme in there.
That was so weak. We got carry on.
all right, sports.
We figured out your VIP.
Sports.
VIP. Explain what the VIP thought is.
So, my optimism has been better. Has been better about the Pirates, and has been shown better because they started the season out really well, and now they're winning games. Now they're playing the Astros, and they got beat pretty pretty bad by the Astros last night. But you know what? I'm still optimistic. Everything's going to be fine. They seem to be doing better than they did before, and things are exciting. Except, don't forget about the part where O'Neal Cruz is hurt, and that's rough. And Guns and I were talking about that before the show. That was completely an O'Neal Cruz problem, an O'Neal Cruz poor slide, not necessarily a problem with the catcher. The catcher didn't really do anything wrong. So for me, the way I look at it, sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. But my opinion, what I think the Pirates are going to be doing now, they got a problem because Cruz was a big. Everybody's talking about, the Pirates are in trouble now. I mean, Cruz is not replaceable. I understand that. But in terms of the whole lineup, I think the lineup's going to survive and be fine. The big thing, though, is that when you have to face O'Neal Cruz, 6'7", potentially at home runs and drive-in runs, when you got to face him first in the order, when you got to face him, first in the game, it's tough because then you watch the next few hitters. I mean, McCutcheon's going crazy. Carlos Santana's looked like he did when he played for the Indians before they were called the Guardians. Everybody's kind of contributing and doing well. Now you take out Cruz, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to face him first, and that's going to hurt the Pirates for sure. That's really the only thing I can think of that's going to be bad, but I don't think it's going to be disastrous. I think this team can forge ahead and still do well. Although injuries plagued them last year while I'm thinking about it. But, if it's just Cruz, he'll be back by June, it seems, June or late June, early July. So I think they'll be fine. I don't think that you should just hold the Pirates season just by what O'Neal Cruz is doing. I think that they've got a little bit more in the lineup than just that. Somebody raised their hand.
He got one,
just
and I got
a real quick
one.
question. The only thing that concerns me is if he was a third baseman or a first baseman, the fact that he's a shortstop, the lateral movement playing shortstop with a broken ankle, I don't know.
Well, he's not going to play with the broken ankle.
No, but I'm
Recovery.
saying once he rehabs that early, he won't have that quick lateral movement for a while. It takes time to get that kind of movement. It's not normal running. It's, do you ever play
Great
shortstop?
point from a guy.
I played short and second, so there's a big difference in movement.
That I understand.
I respect that opinion there. I have a question about you because I had a dispute with being a pitcher and watching pitchers, and the name, what is it, Rich Hill or something came up.
He's performing poorly, I understand.
And I don't want to say I'm Nostradamus. Oh, bang! But I've seen it before, and somebody asked me the question, why was he the starting opening day pitcher? Because the rotation brought him to that?
Rich Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my answer because he shouldn't have been there, and we wouldn't be talking about this. And again, the window dressing that Guns and I have seen over years, Smoke and Jim didn't know what it was, how they placate us with a couple older players like Kutch and others who were great. And Kutch, my hat goes off to him. He's done great for being on his retirement last year. He's doing fantastic, in my opinion.
Well, I have optimism, though, is despite Rich Hill's poor performance in that opening day for the Pirates, the first day at PNC Park this season, despite that, the Pirates' offense still came back, picked them up, and ended up winning the game. So, optimism. Now, Rich Hill individually performed poorly, and we can be mad about that. I understand that frustration, but the optimism comes more from the offense that's, picking each player up. Like Swinsky and Hayes weren't doing too well start the season, but you got Santana and McCutcheon. Then you see, McCutcheon got a day off. Swinsky comes back, gets the only run batted in the third game of the series for the Pirates to win the series against the White Sox. So there's optimism all around. I mean, I'm not just going to focus on, Rich Hill's poor performance in that case.
But how many? I always ask this, like the Chip and everybody else. How many games do we play in a season?
162.
That's why we play it.
We'll just see it.
We've been surprised many a time the first few weeks or month
Why
of the
can't
season.
I just be optimistic? You're asking me questions about things that I have answers to.
You wear your heart not only on your sleeve but on the desk.
Sure.
You're very emotional here.
Yeah.
And I'm saying we have the scars, me and Guns especially, from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s.
You've been alive for a World Series, though, that the Pirates
yeah,
have won.
but you can't use
I'm
that as
clinging on to something.
Okay, well,
never
if
saw
that's your thing that you're just clinging on, then I can leave you alone with that.
Thank you.
And you'll become more of a character like we are, because it helped build us into the characters that we are. all this dissatisfaction.
Yes.
Like, we don't hate them. Like,
No.
I tell people I'm a Pirate fan, but I'm disgruntled. And people want to argue, what do you mean? I go, the results speak for what I believe.
But they're doing well so far.
And I respect
I
that.
know it's a long season.
Guns.
You know, I've been a huge critic of the Pirates, but I've been able to separate the ownership now from them.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell you, I'm very optimistic and very pleased with these young players. The way they've been playing far exceeded my expectations, and their energy. I think there's something there. But only because Mark Madden said it on Monday and we're on Tuesday. If you think for a minute that nothing's not going to mess us up somewhere down the road, then
You're mistaken.
You're mistaken. You're
I've
right.
heard them.
Who's Mark Madden?
I'm sorry, Mark Madden.
You can't talk about him because you work on 93.7 The Fan.
He's the
The
number
name
one.
doesn't sound familiar to me.
Well,
You don't know who he is?
No, here's why.
No.
How could he not know?
When you've been a politician most of your life, but I've worked for a company.
I was a statesman.
Well, they brainwash people that work for you. And he's been in the wash.
Well, he's Little Pony. So
He's been in the VIP brainwash that
Wait a minute.
they have competitors and they're not allowed to talk about the number one guy in sports.
he
in
is the number one
Pittsburgh.
guy.
No, I'm just saying it's Mark Madden.
No, but Pony holds it. He goes, Nick, when you can take the pee from my hand.
That's close.
He said, I can't see it. No, I'm glad we could clear it up, but your points are well taken. Tell them how old you are again, because I don't want to mention how old I am.
24.
Okay, I only have a 42-year difference on him.
He was born when he was 40. That's the thing. Because he's
Well, he has
very-
wisdom.
He does. For a young guy, he's very, very.
That's why I brought him up.
Did he
Hey,
get it from Waynesburg?
no,
He gets it from his mom.
yeah. If Maureen's watching, we salute you. And Ron King, he's watching. My old friend from the Post-Gazette, George Malerbo's watching. Thank you for watching. He said, good evening. Amy said, Guns, love your shirt.
Ooh.
Chief says, love VIP's positivity.
Bring it on.
A friend of mine for years, Grace Klein, she's watching. Thanks for tuning in, Grace. We appreciate you. I got to say what's on my mind, right?
Sure, you can. It's your show.
I don't know if I can follow.
Nick got you that time.
It hurt. Can you hear that? I'm
Damn.
actually slapping myself. He hit me so
Nick's
bad.
on fire.
I got to take a deep breath. The allergies are getting me. No, they're gone.
Amy says, Nick, you were young. I don't even know what to say to that.
They stole my thunder about Hugo Cruz, or O'Neill Cruz, because I wanted to bring up about the superstar that was supposed to be the next Roberto Clemente, who they were wrong about, Polanco. I was at a game with a friend of mine, and we watched one of the worst slides in history, going from first base to second. Like Smoking Jim said, he played baseball.
Yes, sir.
He never did, but he saw a bad slide then. He catapulted and ruined his shoulder, and he was never the same. And I played baseball since minor leagues and all that stuff. And you would learn that when there's a play at the plate, if you have a chance, slide. If not, just run it out. I just have one question for Cruz. What did you learn when you played baseball? He was out before he got close.
Wow.
Yeah.
I rest my case just on that. Smoking Jim wasn't aware of it, so we're going to go to Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. 10 seconds, Rowan.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. I tell you what, I'm gonna take a page from Guns Playbook.
It's your
this
side of the
week.
table. Go ahead.
And everybody knows that I want, Jordan Addison in the draft at the 17th pick, even though he's sliding a little bit. But when you look at, I look at defensive tackles for 3-4 defense, because they're usually your defensive ends in the 3-4 defense.
You did take his page.
Yeah.
They're only in at 25%, though.
So the University of Michigan got a guy that's 21 years old. If the Steelers draft him, they'll probably waste him. It's Maisie Smith, 6'3", 323 pounds, super freaky. He got an NBA vertical jump at a 44-inch. He runs a 4.840. He's unbelievable, but they'll probably – his nickname is the Freak.
Who's that?
Experts have named him a freak because he's so athletic. But they'll probably stick him in at the nose guard position. Here's a guy that I tell you what the Pittsburgh Steelers should take a look at. Aaron Donald endorsed him. He's from Pitt, Kansas. He's only 6'1", 285.
Kalijah Kancey?
Yeah, but don't forget, Nick, that this guy is only 6'1", 285 pounds. Now, the last time the Steelers had a guy that size was Javon Hargrave that played at an all-black school, South Carolina State. And they wanted to stick him at nose guard. And now he's the richest defensive lineman in football because he was able to play his natural position at defensive end. This guy's only 6'1", but he's athletic, 4'6", 40. He can fly, very athletic. But kind of reminds me of my old friend, Donald Evans, when he played for the Pittsburgh Steelers and was a pretty good defensive end at 6'1". So guys can play that position in. But I'll tell you what, the Pittsburgh Steelers, now Jalen Carter from Georgia be gone. He's a top 6 guy. And
we all know that.
But there's another Jalen the Steelers should look at, Jalen Redmond from Texas. Now, he got a history of blood clots, so that's a red flag. He's coming out a year early. But this is a guy that's strongly – he runs a 4.840. He's pretty athletic. Played at the University of Texas, 6'3", 292 pounds, and play a little defensive end for you. So those are some of the guys maybe the Steelers should take a look at if they want to beef up the defensive line.
Thank you from our draft expert. He was very concise and precise. And he only had a little prejudice with some of his thoughts. Hey, Maureen, shout out. You missed my comment that Polanco did one of the worst slides into second base, injured his shoulder, and was out of baseball within a year.
I think she was being sarcastic.
So if you were sarcastic, I've told my friends sarcasm doesn't cover well in social media, only live time.
I like it.
That's my simple take on sarcasm. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to our segment, Guns.
Just a little something about the Steelers. And I agree with a lot of what you said. The thing is that most people don't realize Tomlin is in the 3-4 25% of the time.
I've heard that.
Okay? Which means he's in the 4-3 75% of the time. And to have the kind of rush from the 4-3 what he has is disgraceful. It's disgraceful. Whoops.
Oh.
We'll
recover that.
They need a defensive line. That's all there is to it.
Your mantra is well taken each week.
I'm telling you.
I hope it sinks into Tomlin, Smoking Jim's best friend who doesn't talk to him anymore. Just saying.
They fought over Hayward. I want to talk about Cruz is getting hurt.
Yeah.
The new slide rule. In the old days, guys would come barreling home and
like they were in football.
Yeah, you take out the catcher or whatever. But the new slide rule, most people don't realize, is you have to make contact with the ground before you slide.
Good point.
And what's happening is these guys don't get it right. That's how Cruz broke his leg, because he tried to make contact and slide, and they can't get that flow in their head. So I'm wondering if this new rule, and Nick and I talked about this, and Nick was a catcher, I'm not sure whether this new rule hurts more players than it did catchers. So I don't know. I'd like to know what the audience thinks about that in terms of who's getting hurt worse and which way is better. So, and the only other thing.
Go ahead.
We got to get in the playoffs because we won't have nothing to be mad about.
That's right.
So go Penguins
Go
tonight
Penguins!
against the Blackhawks.
Yes.
I heard it's tied up 2-2.
No, that's the Pirates.
Oh, the Pirates are 2-2.
I don't know. Amy, where are you at?
Homer, and he's hot.
All right, shout out to Anthony Backos watching. Thanks for watching and tuning in. And we're going to go to, thanks, Guns. Let's go to VIP time.
I got an opinion. This one's a bit delayed. I wasn't thinking too much about this when March Madness was going on in basketball, but something happened at the Fan that got me a little bit interested in talking about people who speak about sports nationally, because the March Madness tournament was nice this year. There were a lot of underdogs. There was no 1 or 2 seeds that made it to the Final Four, right? And that's exciting. We like to see not the norm, move forward. Some people, lose their bets on 1 seeds and get upset about that, right? But that's all in the fun of filling out a bracket, right? So, but Nick Kostos is a betting guy, and he was talking with the morning show one morning. They were talking about, okay, are you really excited to see this stuff and this and that, right? Are you really excited to see these teams? Are these the teams you want in the Final Four, right? And Colin Dunlap said, yeah, absolutely. I want to see them in the Final Four. And then Kostos was like, no way, no, of course you don't. You're just saying that, right? But here's the thing that we talk about, rankings and seedings, and we talk about whoever makes up the bracket, right? Whoever makes up the seedings, and then makes the bracket and then watches the bracket unfold, right? A lot of these national media outlets, they want people to, take them credibly. They want, the mock drafts to be seen as correct. They want to make sure that the seeding looks good, because if the seeding doesn't look good, I mean, this could apply to many sports as well, but I'm just talking about March Madness. When you make predictions, you want those predictions to be correct, or you want people to see the teams that are doing well. You want to see them, the people that make the brackets want to see the high seeds make it. And so when you have a team like Pitt, where would be one of those teams where it's like, no, we don't want to see them in the Final Four. No, we don't want to see them make it very far. In this case, when I look at that, it frustrates me, because when you're making the seedings and when they're making the top, the top 25, right? They're telling us all these teams are so good, and they have this algorithm for the seeding system that can't be seen. Nobody can see it. They just make it, and then we're expected to take that and just accept it. And then you see the bracket unfold, and there's no 1 or 2 seeds. And then what do the media people do? What do the national people do? What do the bracket makers do? No, nobody wants to see those teams. They're going to turn them off. This isn't fun. This year's terrible. When in reality, maybe some of those teams that were doing well might have actually should have been ranked higher. And that frustrates me, hearing that, going like, yeah, I like seeing underdogs. I don't fill out a bracket. All of you know that. I don't fill out brackets. I don't bet. And that's just my choice, because I enjoy watching things unfold without having some sort of actual risk taken as I'm observing sports. So in that case, I enjoy seeing the lower seeds do better. And anybody in the national media, especially like CBS who makes the brackets and who broadcasts a lot of the games, they make more money when the higher seeded teams win. And a lot of the teams, I think, are seeded higher because of money. So in that regard, that's rough. That's a rough way to do things. It's a rough way to do things just for profit. And for national people to first be like, nope, we're not going to seed these guys high because they don't deserve to be seeded high. And then they actually make it, and they beat teams, and they move forward as underdogs, and then everybody's like, oh, we don't want to watch this. You lose either way. They make you lose either way. And I hate loses like that. I just want to enjoy sports, and I want teams to be treated fairly, and they don't seem to be right now, from what I observe. So that's the opinion. I hate that.
Thank you, Nick.
Go ahead.
I think your opinion is spot on, because if you look at the top 1, 2, 3, 4 teams, they all got wiped out by the second round just about. So obviously money was generating them, because it sure wasn't the talent. Because
clap it up for Purdue as well, one of my favorite outs.
them in Kansas.
Number 1 seed down.
There's always that Jayhawk choke too.
Yeah. So. Yep, that's what they'll tell you. They'll tell you, nope, this team doesn't deserve to be top 25. Then those teams make it to the finals or the final rounds, and then it's like, no, we didn't want to see them. Nobody wants to see that.
Who wants to see San Diego State?
No, nobody. What are you talking about?
Hey, Nick, even though we got a generational problem and an issue, I've only played the bracket once. I don't believe in the bracketology. I appreciate and respect all of you that do that. I only care about enjoying the games that are out there.
You and I are on the same page.
Yeah, well, except I'm a fan of Duke. I like winners like that, and I like how they played. So that was one of the things I always leaned towards just growing up. Like I like Green Bay Packers being a kid. Guns.
That's your side of the table. This side of the table, we even bet who's going to talk longer, you or Nick.
Well, I got to make a comeback because he's out talking me. So I'm going on his segment right now.
We bet everything.
Well, I'm trying to equal that up. Hey, we got a little bit of feedback. John Donatelli said, play it like football with the catcher. Anthony Bacco said, take me back to the days where you didn't have all the BS about teams. Anthony, Pandora's box. What happens when you open it? It's gone. I agree with you. I wish it was like that. Growing up, I didn't know who the owner of the Pirates was because in the 60s and 70s, I knew we had a good team on the field.
Bing Crosby.
Look at the lumber company, things like that. So I'm with you on that. And he said they just played and the better team usually won. Well, as far as we know, there was point shaving and other things going on for years, and you had Vegas that got in on the NFL and stuff. So I question all the games that were played because when you put Vegas money out there, look at FanDuel and everything else that they tell you, giving money to the NFL. Don't you think, why do health reports and injury reports matter in Vegas? Well, I guess they're gambling. And Paul Haley, Guns, the new rule protects the catcher and makes the player slide to avoid a hockey check, taking out
that?
the catcher. This Paul Haley.
Tell Paul, I said, who's wearing the head guard and the pads?
Yeah. Well, it actually could save a catcher's career. You make a good point there, and that's why they did change it.
Preserve the catcher.
And Anthony's criticizing
He just
you a
likes
bit,
Nick
Nick.
better.
Anthony said, too much opinion, Nick.
Too much. That was the point of the
And
segment.
yeah, and that's part of it. Anthony's on fire. Can't usually see all these comments. That's right. Money drives sports. I'm with Alan. I just enjoy two teams playing. Okay, we can agree on that. All right.
I said that too, though.
Well, you just bloviated so much. Look that word up. He was bloviating on top of bloviating. Smoking Jim won because he bets on the VIP. Guns lost on me, so we're going to do my on location in 10 seconds. Before I do my segment, Tony from Chick-fil-A, since he's a friend of mine, my boxing is Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe. I concur. That's one of my top movies. But Smokin' Jim, did you ever watch it? No, he doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't get out much. And Anthony Bacco, Alan, you're spot on about the money. Thank you. And that'll update everybody. On location, we got great fights at Monsville Prison, April 22nd, 6 o'clock at the Haunted Prison. The VIP, Smokin' Jim and I are going to be there to film and announce. We're going to even do ring announcing there, me and Smokin' Jim. Every other fight will alternate in the red corner, blue corner. We'll cover that. Guns, any
Don't
point?
bring no ghost home.
No, we don't. We have an extra seat in the vehicle, but we'll see. We're supposed to take the Bethel Park car. We'll have to get that confirmed for sure. I'll do a little checkup on AAA because Dave said you might not make it in that vehicle.
Well, no, he's just concerned if something would happen, how would we get back? Not
Well,
necessarily. I trust that car.
the way he drives and you drive, I just sit there like I'm chilly. It's all nice and comfortable. I don't worry about a thing.
chilly.
The only thing I put out there is Smokin' Jim. You know we're in Ohio. He goes, how'd we get to Ohio? I go, we got to get to West Virginia next. So we looped around that time and we made it to West Virginia.
You just sit back and you're chilly.
I'm chilly. I'm chilly. All right, so the on location continues. Jim Frio and Mike Murray, they hire us to do this, and they put on quite the show with boxers. Our friend Mike Manas, the feature event of the night again, and he lost the last time we filmed it. And I heard he's in better shape and healthier this time than he was after he lost about 40 pounds. So we should see a great fight. It'll be a rematch fight with Lucas, who won. He did a great performance outboxing Mike in that fight. We were rooting for Mike, but Lucas took it from him and deserved the fight and the trophy there, so and the belt. So we'll see a rematch of that. Any other things coming up, they're all in the works, so we'll see what happens. If any bar or restaurant wants to hire us for when we did our 1-hour show on location at Atria's PNC Park, Duke's Rib House and Grill, and other places in the area, we're for hire. Smokin' Jim and I put on a heck of a show with great guests that we interview. So check that out. And now we got about 12 minutes to do like a round robin thing with whatever might be on your mind in the last 12 minutes. We'll start with Smokin' Jim because we don't know where he's focusing. He struggled walking 10 feet across to his seat.
That's all that money he won on all the
Well,
games.
first of all, Smokin' Jim, are you all right?
Oh, yeah.
Just checking, because he had a size 25 shoe at the Taekwondo and Providence Charter School. Today he's down to size 18, just from my observations. So, you got anything you want to bring up sports-wise? I figure your time of the year is now.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm debating who got the better arm, OBJ or Lamar Jackson. Listen, OBJ went to Cleveland Browns and he wasn't happy. How's he going to be happy with a quarterback that can't throw? $18 million does not stop a disgruntled guy from being disgruntled. I tell you what, the Pittsburgh Steelers got a chance to do a wild card. They can move past the Cleveland Browns and they can move past the Baltimore Ravens because they're making mistake after mistake. They can't get past Cincinnati right now, but they can make the playoffs as a wild card team, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you from our resident scout with the Sox hat on.
Get rid of Lamar Jackson. He can't throw.
Really? Okay, Smokin'. You've made some outrageous predictions before. The only two I remember is Ike Taylor and what?
And don't forget Antonio Brown was my draft pick.
Well, he's in the 2-cent brain category for me. So he could have been a Hall of Famer, and I say could have been.
Yes, he could.
And how do you ruin your career?
Yeah.
Follow AB. Guns. What's at the top of your mind here, my friend?
Well, as far as Lamar Jackson, I think he could throw the ball, but if I would owned him, if I was an owner and he was on my team, I'd be too afraid of what's going to happen to him.
Injuries.
Some young kid's going to get a shot. It only takes one.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
When you played a better guy on a team and he was the star quarterback, you being a cornerback, would you once in a while rush him and try to take him out?
Now, would I do that, knowing my personality? If there's guys watching to play with me,
they know the answer.
I took out a couple tight ends that way, too, that were bigger than me, and I figured it's the only way because I was on the strong side. So, yeah,
Well, with those guns,
Disclaimer.
I got my money on guns.
Yeah,
The disclaimer is these are his own opinions and the opinions of his friends who watched him.
Let me just say this. I
Go
got
ahead.
thrown out of a couple games. I don't know why.
Okay.
But
You were innocent.
Oh, they didn't call me the clothesline kid for nothing. But
Whoa, the clothesline kid is back.
I'm just saying, for every action, there's a reaction. If a guy took a shot at me, then,
Dick Night Train Lane. White Dick
Well,
Night Train Lane.
the little history with him, he didn't play in the NFL. He played semi-pro in the Pittsburgh area, and we had some great semi-pro teams that they've talked about for years. So I think Smokin' Jim might have even played semi-pro.
a lot of those guys were in the NFL that I played against.
Well, they didn't want to quit till they
No.
ran into the
Well,
guns.
You too young to remember the Pittsburgh Ironmen? They were
I
tough,
was
too.
young, but I gravitated to the Pittsburgh Colts.
They were great. The Colts were.
Oh, I know. Actually, my old boss when I was a young kid was the quarterback for the Ironmen.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Really?
Reach Recker, yeah.
What, Jody Unitas? Or?
No, Reach Recker. Well, that was way back. That was way
Jody
back.
Unitas played a year semi-pro when he got cut by the Steelers.
We know that.
No, Nick did.
You know, I
Nick can't know
Yeah,
everything.
that's what I'm trying to. I'm schooling my boy. He only 24, man.
I'm surprised. That's the first from the fact section of the Almanac I've heard.
you know,
Yes, it is.
So everything's
A Pittsburgh
factual,
Sports
man.
Line first. One fact for the young kid on the show.
if you look at the last 80 years of football
Okay.
on defense, the middle linebackers and the defensive linemen are the guys that you remember. The Deacon
sir.
Jones, the Roy Lillies, the
My
Marlon
favorite, Dick
Olsons,
Buckets, my favorite.
Dick Butkus, Jack Lambert.
Yeah.
In this head coach we got just does not understand
Hold it, wait, just mention this word, steel curtain.
Yeah.
steel
yes, sir.
curtain.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Legendary.
Joe Green. I mean, I don't understand his way of thinking. I just don't, and it just irritates me every time I watch him. I just, he just got a thing. He don't like defensive linemen, I guess.
I'm not sure. Bill Means is tuning in from Ohio. Bill Means, we
That's a
salute
hitter.
you.
That's a hitter.
I heard it when I was a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, one of the toughest football players in Keystone Oaks history. He's about 5 years older than me, was Bill Means. So when I met him, I was honored, and I told him that. I heard you were the toughest, and he was a modest guy, but you wouldn't want to go against him. No doubt about it. Thanks for watching, Bill. And I had to give a shout out to Zazu. If you got that, I don't know if you can get a close-up, Marco, but got the new haircut from Emilio at Zazu Salon, 301 Fifth Avenue downtown. I had not a problem parking in the garage. Nobody attacked me. No drug addicts, no drunks, no homeless people. All the negativity I'm hearing about Pittsburgh, go downtown then. I was just down there for a couple hours, got my hair cut.
Where is that shop at?
It's right in the middle of Pittsburgh on Fifth Avenue.
Wow. That's because everyone knows you. That's why they don't attack you. They go, he looks too good to hurt.
I got to duck down. My head hit the ceiling. Thank you, Guns. All right, Nick, what's the top thought on your mind?
Not football. No, I like talking about baseball when it's baseball season. Let's go over that stuff with catchers and O'Neal Cruz getting hurt a little bit more because, I caught. And, you like seeing contact, right? In sports, you enjoy the brute force and contact.
Just think of basketball, which is a non-contact sport.
Well, I'll tell you this too. I actually wasn't fond of basketball when I first, watched it and tried to play because I always thought you can't even touch them without, them getting hurt.
Or no, getting a foul.
Then you realize, getting hurt, getting fouled. But then you realize that the nature of basketball is more finesse. It's more, how can I maneuver people to get to the basket without, just running into them. So I respect basketball for that reason. But for baseball, other than the catcher getting run into, it's like, what other than the bat hitting the ball as well, what other contact is there in baseball to worry about or to observe? It was only the catchers getting run into, and that's a little. When you think about it, it's weird. It's unusual. It's just one of those things that was in the game to just be there. That really didn't need to be there. O'Neal Cruz tried to do a little okie dokie. Didn't want to get out, so he tried when the catcher took his left hand, which was glove side, to try to get the ball that was over his head, to field the throw. O'Neal Cruz thought that there might be a way to kind of, slide with both knees down and then stick out one leg late to be able to reach the plate.
Smart.
And so, we've seen it happen before. Like, that's a slide that's become more popular because it is kind of sneaky. You look like you're going to give yourself up, and then, you pick your left leg or your right leg to extend to get around the catcher. Now, Chicago's catcher was stubborn and did what he was supposed to do, which was get the ball from my glove down to the ground on his leg as quickly as possible and make sure that he can't get any part of his body to the plate. And so when you're sliding with both knees down and then you try to extend, but there's something there or somebody there who's stopping you from extending your leg, guess what's going to happen? Something's going to break because your leg doesn't have space to extend. So you're trying to extend, you're putting force toward the object that's trying to stop you, and the object trying to stop you is trying to stop you. So you're going to get a break. I don't think it had anything to do with rules. I've thought that catcher rules were a little bit excessive, when they first made them, and that some calls were a little bit egregious because it is more of an abstract thing that they tried to make concrete, and a lot of things in baseball are abstract. But in this case, O'Neal Cruz tried to make what I consider a hero play. He tried to score in an unlikely situation, and he got hurt for it because he couldn't extend his leg, and the catcher did his job, which was to block any part of the body from touching the plate. And that's what he did. So Cruz not only got out like he was likely to, but he hurt himself because he's tall and he was up against a brute force.
Nick, I got a question.
Sure.
If you were in that situation, what would you as a catcher have been thinking?
Well, I probably wouldn't have yelled. I mean, that catcher yelled at Cruz too, which I didn't appreciate.
I mean, what would you have done? Anything differently, or would you
probably
have done?
not? And that's why
Well, that's my point to this. That you have a player like Polanco was supposed to be a top-notch athlete and baseball player and proved that he wasn't.
Well, he hurt his shoulder. I don't know. I mean,
Well, before that, he was such a disappointment.
I wouldn't say that. Started his career with an 11-game hitting streak.
We
Had a good arm in right field.
thought, and from our generation,
I never heard the comparisons to Clemente either because I think that was
they
a little
did
wild.
bring it up with their scouts and things. Said he would be the next Clemente.
That's nonsense. But
I don't
other than that,
understand
I mean,
why these guys don't know how to slide. I got many a cherry on my thigh from sliding into home, or
See,
you know what I mean.
well, also I'm 5'9", so I don't know what it's like to be 6'7" either. I know you can slide head first in baseball too, though. Maybe you expose your head a little bit more, but
I always
you know,
did that in the field. I figured, hey, what are they going to do to my if football didn't do?
yeah. No, that's a good point. No, but I just wondered if you had any different thoughts on what the catcher did. 'Cause
No.
I thought he handled it perfectly. Got the high throw, got his position like he's supposed to, and then. Give yourself up, Cruz. I'll end the conversation with it because we belabored it way too much. To me, you had a player at the major league levels. I don't know why they need to be taught how to play baseball, but that's been the last tradition that I've seen the last 25 years, that they have to be taught to play in the major leagues. I don't know about you guys, but when I was 16 or so, I thought I knew everything I needed to know, and I tried to get better each time I played. What happened to that mentality today? Like they all need help and guidance. Like if you just hit fastballs and they throw a curveball, they know they can get you out of the league.
You know, there's something interesting that you said. When we played, they taught us to be overall ball players. Then they decided where you were going to play.
Mm-hmm.
This specialty
Special,
stuff,
yeah.
I think, might have something to do
No,
with
and
what
that's
you're
my
saying.
point to
Yeah.
it, that we played all positions and we were good at one or another. Like I got pulled out of the outfield and became a pitcher in Little League because I had a strong arm. Did I know I'd become a good pitcher? Not until I put hard work in, and I learned how to pitch and throw, and I was blessed with a hard fastball. Not everybody has that. I had a good friend, never forget him, Tom Lynch. He threw nothing but junk. He had 7 pitches. None of them were faster than 40 miles an hour. Wow. But, I mean, that's the difference with people. And when you talk about Cruz, he's going to be out a while. Let's see how he comes back, and I hope he's not a Polanco. And thanks for putting up with us, folks. We got a little in-depth with on this stuff, but we want to clear up a few points among ourselves. If you're interested, we appreciate it, and we'll try to carry on next week. Please stay Joey strong.